Morning everyone, how are you? What a beautiful day. Just take a moment and hear the noises, or hear the lack of noise. Give you a wee look at what's going on here. Isn't that great? And this is what we're going to talk about today. As you think, so you become. And I'll tell you a couple of examples of that. You become what you think about the most. If you think you can, you can. If you think you can't, guess what? You can't. Think about that. It really all stems from your self-talk. We have hundreds of conversations with ourselves every single day. It's that little voice in the back of our head. It talks to us. The key is to get it to talk to us nicely, or shut up. Today, take time to listen to yourself and hear what you're actually telling yourself, and elaborate that on that quite a bit. I mean, when you get up in the morning and open the curtains, do you let the weather control how you immediately feel? And control your mood as well? I've done it myself. I actually hear people do this when I walk past them and say hello. Often when it's raining or cold, I get responses like, miserable day, isn't it? I got caught out the other day when it was raining and it was a wee bit chilly. And I walked past and I was about to say, geez, look at this today. And Richard said to me, beautiful, isn't it? Wow. I was taken off guard. And then I thought to myself, it's a thought process. It's you, it determines how you feel for that day. Don't let other things change that or influence that. You can do that yourself. Morning, Karen. It's often viewed as perfectly harmless, but your brain is really a muscle and affects your mood because your mood is affected. A brain is really a muscle and it works really like a computer. So if you start to think negatively, it starts to go in and then affects your mood and becomes your mood. And your mood is affected and it begins to think more negative thoughts and the downward spiral begins. Morning, Sean. Your body starts to create chemicals to match your self-talk and your mood, and it becomes difficult to break the cycle because the chemicals take over. It often leads to stress, paranoia, depression. But you can break the cycle. Tony Robbins talks about your mood and how you can change it. Think about this. When you're depressed, what's your posture like? It's down, isn't it? Morning, Louise. Where's your head? Is it up or down? It's down. Where's your shoulders? They're down. Your breathing, is it full or is it shallow? Well, it's usually shallow. Are you talking loud or quiet? It's usually quiet. You talk slow or do you talk fast? Slow. Are you feeling heavy or do you feel light? It's usually heavy. How do you know this? Because we've all practiced it at some point in time in the past. So if we radically change our bodies, we'll change our state and change our mood. I mean, do this right now, okay? Stand up or sit up straight. Take a deep breath and smile. How does that make you feel? You get that instant lift, don't you? And that's how you can change. Just the other day, I told a story to someone I know about how your self-talk and your thinking dictates the outcome, even before the conversation has started. A man breaks down in his car at 1 a.m. in the morning, in the middle of the countryside. His tyres burst. He has no spare jack, but he has a spare tyre. So he needs to find a jack to change it. He has no access to the phone because there's no signal and there's no telephone box. So he gets out his car at 1 o'clock in the morning and walks down the road in search of a house to see if they have a jack so he can change his tyre. When he's walking down, he begins to think, basically talking to himself, will anybody be up? And if they're up, will they appreciate me knocking on the door? He dismisses this and walks further down the road, and he thinks again, what if they have young children or a dog and I knock on the door and everyone's woken up as a result of that? What will they say? They might even say, get out of here, do you know what time it is? He walks a bit further down the road and sees a light in the window and thinks, brilliant, someone's at home. But what if they're sleeping and the light is only for security? And I'll wake them up and answer the door and give me abuse for waking them up. Remember, he's talking to himself all the time. He finally gets to the door and hesitantly knocks on the door, thinking all the negative thoughts he's thought before and what they're going to say. And a sweet old lady answers the door and goes, yes, in a gentle voice. A rush of blood, adrenaline, cortisone goes through the man's body and to his head, and all at once he shouts, oh, keep your bloody jack. You see, he'd already talked himself into believing it was going to go horribly wrong. So his mind had worked towards this result, even though it wasn't going to be the case. How many times have you done this in the past? I have. Over 20 years ago, I remember I used to fall out with my mum while driving down the road to see her, as I assumed how the conversation was going to go before I even got in the door. And when I even got there, I'd already fallen out with her, even though she was delighted to see me. Your thinking determines your focus, and your focus creates your future. So be aware of your thoughts and be mindful. If you wanted to feel good right now, you could easily do that, couldn't you? You just think of something that makes you happy, something that makes you feel good about yourself. A song that triggers a memory of good times. A time you spent with friends and your family, an occasion in the past. We all have something we can think about and focus on, but it takes effort. Think about this for a moment. You're sitting in a film and it's terrible, it's diabolical. Would you get up and walk out, or would you continue to sit and watch it? Of course you would leave. Yet sometimes we continue to play the same film in our mind over and over again without actually leaving. Now you understand where that leads. Have you ever heard the phrase, when you're in a heated discussion and someone says, look, why don't you just change the record? It's maybe something we should adopt in our self-talk and to change our focus and change our state and change our future. Bruce Lee, the world-renowned martial artist, said, as you think, so you become. Bruce has acknowledged the power of the human mind to affect his behaviour. He was just enthusiastic about training the mind as he was about training the body. With practice, with mindfulness, you can do it and lead a better life. After all, as you think, so you become. And I'll see you tomorrow at 7:30.